let's play a game. All right. On the count of 3, name your favorite dinosaur. Don't even think about it. Just name it. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Velociraptor.
What? Did we just become best friends?
Yup.
You want to go do karate in the garage?
Yup.
This is the Karate in the Garage podcast with Mason Merrill and Weston Toth. Welcome back to another edition of the Karate in the Garage podcast. I'm your host, Mason Merrill, and with me again today is Weston Toth. How you doing, Weston?
Mason Merrill, how are you doing, my friend? I'm doing wonderful.
I'm doing pretty good. We're both about to go on vacation, so that feels pretty good.
Yeah, dude, I cannot wait to not work for well, you know how we both are. I think you're this way too. Is I love my work, and you always look forward to vacation. But then when you're like 5 days in your vacation, you're like, man, I really could work right now.
Yeah, for sure. I feel that way.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it though. Mainly just seeing you and my family, getting out of town, not worrying about hopefully business too much, and just getting to it.
Yeah, man, it's going to be quite a drive for both of us because we're both going to Georgia. How many hours is it going to be for you?
16.
Okay, that's all it is to North Carolina, or?
Mm-hmm. Yep, 16 exactly from where we are to my sister's house in Franklin, North Carolina. So we'll be good.
Cool. Yeah, we're going to Georgia, and it's about 16. Same as that. We're leaving Tuesday. You're leaving Saturday.
Yep, Saturday morning at 3 o'clock. We're going to try to get there for dinner. I'm pretty sure my sister's making her famous fried chicken. Got to get there.
I'm bummed I'm not going to be there.
Oh, man. I'm sure they're like, if you were like, hey, I want to come visit for a night or see you guys, my sister would be taking care of you. So.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Well, anyway, wedding times are coming up, so we'll have fun on the trip. And this is actually going to be our last show of the year. So we're going to put a bookend on our first year of podcasting.
Yeah, man. Just been a really fun experience so far. But, man, 2019, we're going to see some really cool changes with the podcast format, quality, definitely YouTube content. And then I will be streaming on Twitch, which I've done before. But I think it'll be really cool to be able to, just visually see and, watch, hopefully, for some people to play those games and see if they want to do it for themselves or just entertainment. So it'll be good.
Yeah, definitely just try to get with a little bit, build our community a little bit. We definitely appreciate all of our listeners right now, but we're looking forward to many more good things. So
exactly.
This week we are reviewing Zoids Battle Legends for GameCube.
Yes. So this was something that, like we talked about last week, that Zoids was a show on television on Toonami, Cartoon Network. Obviously we got in the 2000s, early 2000s, 2003, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I loved it. Got you into it, and it came out with a GameCube game in what year? Do you have that? 2008?
It was in the U.S. It released in September 3rd of 2004.
2004, sorry. 2008 was the Xbox 360 one. 2004.
Mm-hmm.
So I was super excited when this came out. I know you were too. And I spent quite a bit of time with this game. How much did you spend on it?
This week or just in general when we got it?
I was there when we got it. We played it at least like 2 solid straight days.
Yeah. We played so much we burned ourselves out on the game like after those first couple of days. But yeah, I have such like fond, good memories of this game, just basically because it was the only kind of game in the United States of its kind for this franchise.
Yeah, because there's a problem with even this type of game, but it was definitely the first one and the only one that ever came out. I know they're going to do another one for the Switch, they've announced, or something in the genre, but this was pretty much it. So if you were into the show, I mean, we picked this thing up and we're super excited about it, played the crap out of it, burnt ourselves out. But coming back to it was interesting because I have a lot of really, I think, definitely opinions on it.
Yeah, for sure. I probably played this game for 5 hours this week, and that's probably the most I played one of these games we've been reviewing. So I definitely for sure have some opinions on it as well. So this game was one of the only Zoids games released in North America, along with like another Game Boy Advance game that came out. But they have had actually quite a bit of Zoids games in Japan, but they've just never made it across the seas. And like you had mentioned, they're talking about one with the Switch. So I really hope they're also gonna bring it to the United States as well.
Yeah, I mean, even with the Switch, the graphics could be obviously improved because this was GameCube. But even for GameCube, I didn't particularly think this looked very good.
Yeah.
But it had so much potential. It just fell short on a lot of different ways, in my opinion.
Yeah. The Switch, going back to the Switch real quick, the screenshots on it look pretty sweet, but so anyway, I hope that makes it over here. But anyway, so once you open the game, what was the first mode that you played in?
I did just the story mode, mission mode, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, at first. Yeah, just because, they said story mode, I'm definitely into that stuff. So, just did that at first.
Mm-hmm.
Had a really tough time at it going.
Yeah, starting out was pretty rough, but once I kind of got the hang of it, I was cruising along. So basically you're just put in the middle of a war between two factions, and I didn't do a whole lot of the, there wasn't like any voice acting or anything like that, so I didn't do I didn't really cling on to the story. I was just kind of going through the motions of the missions. But there was definitely kind of a big story behind it, I think.
Yeah, because even with the show, there was 3 different. There was New Century, Chaotic Century, and then even another one I think that was just in Japan. And so they tried to implement that in this game, but
yeah, with the characters and stuff like that. But this was kind of a new story of its own, which was neat, kind of thing. But that was one of the kind of what I didn't like about it was like, I don't want a new story. I want to play as BitCloud or Van. I want to jump into their story. I thought that would have been cool.
Yeah, for sure. I would have loved it. At least, had one of those of the 2, and then possibly something just but of my own story. But they didn't. You basically played a character of that pre-written story. It'd have been cool to make your own way in like a tournament mode, which that you could have, or that's what I did. That's what I liked best about it is the tournament mode. It's like the versus tournament. But it definitely there was a story there, but it lacked. I didn't connect with any of the characters, honestly.
Yeah,
the new story.
So when you started the mission mode, what were you? Were you the Command Wolf, or were you the turtle, the tortoise?
Oh man, gotta go with Command Wolf.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Even though probably the tortoise was better because
had heavier hits.
Yeah, command. So the worst part about this game was all of the melee attacks. They were super strong, so I just ended up that's how I kind of played the game. But the aiming system for the guns was so bad that unless you had the heat seeking ones, and even those, man, they were so they sucked. So
yeah.
I had a strategy. I want to know what your strategy was, because I beat the not the mission mode but the versus mode, where you basically played all the characters from the Chaotic Century or New Century, and then that's how you unlocked them, and you unlocked the other Zoids too. So
yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun doing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so my kind of at first was I just had the regular gun, and I would just basically just run away, and just kind of flip around once I got farther enough away, and then shot him a couple times, and then kind of came back around, and just more. It was a little more just kind of running away strategy more than anything, and avoiding the missiles and then when they did get near you to deploy your shield and then knock them away and keep running.
Yeah.
That was kind of at first before you really could get some parts that actually helped you out,
Yeah, for sure. So you even would. I mean, there was a couple guns that I did use that were usable. You could inflict some damage and stuff. But so my strategy, the way that I beat every round of this, not pretty handily, is I sold all of, because you start with 4 Zoids. I sold 2 of them, and I bought a Blade Liger. And the Blade Liger, it actually worked like it was supposed to. So you could deploy the blades, which were just swords, and just run around and do what it's supposed to, meaning like run fast or use your boost and like slice them and then just turn around, or just turn like basically just encircle them, and then you had the blades, and then you could just like also use your manually like your punch attack basically. And man, I destroyed it with the Blade Liger. I mean, just wrecked with him completely.
Yeah, so that was the smart thing to do. I didn't do that. I was just like rolling. I didn't even think about selling my Zoids.
Yeah, I sold him, and I bought the best Blade Liger, and then I bought the because you have a partner too. So that was I did like that, even though the AI wasn't very good. I liked how you could set up your partner with like the tortoise, which was the long range. He wasn't fast, but he could like bombard them and just set them up and tell them what to do. So I just would set him up with like a big old tank looking thing that shot really well, and then I would just go like wreck them with the blades.
Yeah, those blades. I just remember in the show it was like the most epic moment when he would jump up and like come down with the blades, and just slash them. So it sounds like you did the tournament mode more, and I did the mission mode more. So
really awesome.
Yeah, so I started out as the Command Wolf and just kind of went through until you eventually upgrade to the Raptor in like the third mission, and then you get Shadow Fox, and then now we're talking.
So was Shadow Fox like, were the guns, the ones that he had, were they actually usable, where you could run around and shoot, and it felt like pretty good, or was it still kind of clunky?
It was clunky, like for sure. I mean, for the time being, it probably was okay, but it was definitely real clunky.
I don't think it was good for the time being.
Okay.
There were some good games out right now that employed, aiming and guns and auto aim really well, and this one did not. The auto aim sucked.
Yeah, no, it wasn't great.
The camera was awful.
And like the machine gun that Shadow Fox has, like you come around and you would really have to be like getting kind of like a good still view. You couldn't really do it while running like some of the other things you could do, like the missiles and things like that. So that was kind of frustrating, but Shadow Fox was definitely really fast and had the boost, and there's a mission in the middle where you're basically just running away, and so that was pretty fun. You just kind of like run through this maze of like canyons and things like that.
That was cool.
And just try to get away from the whatever Shadow Cat or whatever was chasing you at the time.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't even do that. So it did have a little bit more depth than just to run around and beat the other Zoids.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool. And once you get away, and then like you're protecting in a bunch of the missions, you're protecting the base as it rolls along to get to its position. So the Zoids base that's traveling with you, and so. Yeah, I mean, those kind of little things were cool. You just had to, like, make sure. A lot of it did get repetitive because you were fighting a lot of the same little Zoids. But once you fought some of the bigger dudes, it was fun. And then you eventually get Desert Liger, but Desert Liger didn't have blades and was really clunky and all that. So I ended up using the Shadow Fox most of anything, or the Raptor Zoid. So
yeah, the Raptor one, he looked like because he had some blades too, and he had like the claw attack as well, so you could hit, like, you get up in personal and do some damage. So
yeah, that was not that great in this game. The Raptor, the up close and personal, it was basically the same amount of damage as just doing the regular attack that everybody has.
Right. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so I wasn't too stoked about that. But the cool thing about the Raptor, there was a point in the game where you needed to snipe across like a canyon, and so you could use the Raptor to kind of sniper as like a sniper rifle to like snipe the other Zoids, and it was like it would take half their health in one hit.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I did. So I played the mission mode a couple times, and one time I sold the two Zoids in the beginning to get a gun sniper, and the sniper did. That was cool. Like that was actually kind of like a real aiming system, whereas the other guns, you almost had to be perfectly lined up and have them kind of be in a corner, them still to get it right. But the gun sniper is pretty cool.
Yeah.
or the Raptor.
You know, I think my biggest takeaway of this game was like they did a lot of good things in the game, but I just I want a VR game of this so bad. I just think it would be so much fun. I just
Yeah,
kept thinking, I'm like, this would be sweet. And then like I'm like, but how do you handle like not seeing behind you and stuff? I'm like, well, they in the show they always had like a backup, a rear view camera, you know, so they could always see what's going on behind them. I'm like, that'd be so sweet.
I mean, even not even that is like if you just implemented the radar properly, you know, like there's someone behind you. Because even in other games that you play, like I was just playing an adventure game, like it'll have an arrow, like a red arrow. Hey, there's someone behind you. So they could implement it some way. And even if it wasn't VR, even if they just made it like just a standard game, but you're in a cockpit or you have the ability to, and it's immersive, that would be really cool. And even if it was third person, just to have the controls a little bit more, them feeling good, the turning feels better. I don't know. I think and we would say this for what it was, I think it fell short of a lot of things, but it had it has, especially for this next game, Zoids Wild, a lot of potential to be really, really cool.
Yeah.
So, but here's what I have to say about that. Most robot games or robot fighters have the same problem of mobility or them feeling good when you're playing them, and no one's really figured that out to like the degree that I think people want. You know, they want to feel the immersion, but this one was definitely not it. I liked anyway, I liked a lot of it, but I think it was, man, there's so much to be desired. The camera was awful, number one, and then the lock-on system was awful as well. Those are two things. I was like, if the camera and the auto lock-in, even like with it not being able to do all these other things, I could kind of get over somewhat, but the camera and the lock-on system were trash.
Yeah, for sure. It wasn't great for sure. So, yeah, I mean, so that's cool that. But like as far as it did, like you said, got a little repetitive through the thing, and like the tournament's cool because you just keep fighting, and that's the point of you just win, and you could be all the characters, and so that was pretty cool. With you know, you could be like all the OG characters like Bit and Irvine and Van and Fiona and all those people, Lena.
Yeah, that was cool, and you got to play against more, you know, a little bit more of a repertoire, because at the end you play against Vega, which is the Ultimate X, and in the show that's like the big old boy, and it was harder, like they had more powerful attacks, they were faster and stuff, so it was I did like that. I played that for like a couple hours straight. I went through it at least twice and beat it, and then upgraded to the best Blade Liger, and I got the Schneider at the very end. That was my last one, which is like the ultimate. Nice. And I figured out how to do the ultimate attacks, which again, those could have been, you know, in any other game that you would want to be able to get them low, or when you're low, you had a special ability, and maybe went to a cutscene of doing some cool stuff, or even just doing like a ton of damage, like a finisher. And they kind of tried to implement that with the EX attacks, but it just did a little bit of more damage, and it was clunky and hard to do, and it didn't feel like that epic like it should have.
Yeah. I agree. It was just kind of like a one and done. It was like, oh, that's it.
Yeah,
okay.
he just like, you just heard Bit
now
like,
run for your life so you don't die.
Exactly. Yeah, Bit's like like the 7 blade attack. That was the one in the show where it was like his ultimate, and you're like, oh snap, and he literally just dashed forward a little bit, and it did a little bit more damage than your regular blade attack did, and then it left you vulnerable because you kind of have to recover, and you're already low health. It just it sucked. Oh, it's so anticlimactic.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So, what did you think about presentation of the game overall, like the menus and like how you got into the game and load times and things like that?
I think like the load times were let's go backwards. Load times were fine. Presentation, like when you're in the garage souping up your Zoid, because there was a lot of options to do that. Like you get like a main weapon, a sub weapon, and then like options, whether like it's a boost or a shield, and then like you'll get armor, or you could even you get these like the cores, which increase like everything, mobility, armor. Like I like that part because I wanted to like customize it, and I thought that part of the game was really cool. Where I want to be able to feel, buy new parts and upgrade them, or maybe one battle you need to be a little faster for the booster, the shield, whatever.
Yeah.
That was cool. It didn't really show you like how much better this gun was. Like, oh, power is this or whatever. You kind of had just to know that or feel like, oh, this is the plasma is going to do more than your standard Gatling gun or whatever. But the feel was there, and the customizability was starting to get there. You know what this game felt like to me is they started to make a really, really solid game, and it was in like pre-production, and they released it.
Yeah,
like they ran out of money or something.
Yeah, I felt the same way with that. Like you said, I thought all the customization was perfect. Like there wasn't overkill, there wasn't underkill. That was cool. I just wanted more stats. Like I want to know a little bit more about what I'm putting on it rather than just alpha shield or beta shield, kind of thing. It's like, just, and I'm like, did this really do anything? Did this really make a difference in the game? Kind of thing. But, I just think that, like you said, there could have been just a little more information given to the player about what they're doing. So, but I thought as far as the parts and everything, it was perfect amount. Tons of Zoids in the game. I liked that aspect of it.
Yeah. So to go along with just that thought, there was a lot of Zoids. They all, they were slower, faster, but there was no stats with it. You just had to, and even when you bought a Zoid or sold it, it didn't even, it told you how much to buy it for, but it didn't, if you sold one, it didn't even tell you how much you were going to get for that Zoid. It didn't tell you its characteristics or if it was mobile or whatever. It just like, you just like, oh yeah, this is what I want.
This one's gone.
This one's gone. This one's what I get. So that's why I honestly had to cycle through them and play them just to know what they were like. I kind of wish they would have just, instead of having 20, just have like 10, I think there was like 25 or 30. I don't know. There's a lot of them, especially after you unlock both the campaigns. Instead of having that many, just have like half as much, but really do the stats and have them, be more, I don't know, just more of a difference between them or something. It's just, and they did a lot and did them poorly versus just doing half as much and doing them really well.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so just moving forward a little bit, what do you think about the graphics in the game? Going along with all that.
The Zoids themselves were fine. I think for the time, it wasn't great, but the areas were extremely lackluster. Like the stages.
Yes, for sure. That was my
we're sucked.
Yeah, when I was in the garage, like kind of building my Zoid at first and stuff, I'm like, oh, this is sweet. Oh, the Command Wolf, it's awesome. The tortoise looks cool. Whatever. Kind of when you start the game. And then I'm just like, okay, this is going to be fun. This is going to be good. It doesn't just look like a pixelated mess. And then you get in the game and the environments were just like...
It's a pixelated mess.
I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, they could have put like trees or something. Like, it's like, come on. It's not, everything's just the desert, or just like a industrial area. It wasn't no bueno on that. And I'm like, I've played better games on GameCube. I know they had the technology to make something really cool in the GameCube,
Oh yeah, I mean GameCube, dude, the graphics on a lot of those GameCube games, especially ones they put work into, they weren't shoddy. They were pretty I mean, think about this. Zelda Twilight Princess was on GameCube, and as long as the Wii, as well as the Wii, and it looked as good as on the GameCube as it pretty much did on the Wii. So if that gets
that's that's what I was about to say. They rode two consoles on those graphics, kind of thing. So Nintendo did.
Yeah, there was. Or okay, how about here's another one that tells you what graphics is. Super Mario Sunshine. That was a very early game, and that game is beautiful versus this, which was literally. So I've done a little bit of game coding myself, and you could. I mean, it was just like the basic, let's just throw up a landscape and hopefully it interacts correctly with the Zoids and they're not going to be like going through the floor.
Yeah.
That's literally what it was.
Yeah, exactly. And it was more just about the Zoid than it was the environment and things like that. And I didn't appreciate that very much. The only thing that was cool was like if you were in a real dusty environment, like you would and you'd get away from like, say, the carrier base or whatever, it would kind of fade off in the distance and then you get closer and it gets a little more visible. That was the only good thing really I noticed out of it. But as far as the Zoid detail, I thought that was okay. But the environments just ruined it for me.
Yeah, they were awful. So
sound. What did you think about the sound?
Wasn't the worst thing ever, but it wasn't fantastic. Yeah. I think it was it's pretty just, it was like it's right under par. It was like subpar.
Yeah.
I mean, there was some cool moments where you were like maybe getting into it, but overall it kind of had the same.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I didn't love the 8-bit feel of it. It felt like sometimes I was playing a Game Boy game.
Yeah, very true actually.
The do 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 do, that kind of stuff, and like going back to like Mario Sunshine and things like that, they had the technology to put like orchestrated good music in the game.
Oh yeah, instead of just like a metal riff. Like every time you load in, it's like.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And the sound effects were just off, It was like he'd hit me and then it'd be like 2 seconds later, kind of thing. So
yeah.
I'd be like already running away and then it would sound off. So that wasn't great. As far as the gameplay, the camera sucked. As far as just running around and things, I didn't mind that.
It was okay.
Jumping, you could jump really high. That was cool. If you did your melee attack, you could land that pretty good, things like that. So
yeah, just running around, jumping, like it was actually relatively fluid. The melee attack was okay. If you missed it, it took you like a couple seconds to recover, which it would have been kind of cool, especially with like the lighter Zoids, to be able to jump and like do a attack with your paw or whatever, the Zoids, like like a punch, and then keep on going like if you missed or something like this. But it kind of I could tell whoever wrote it was like, I'm gonna write, no matter what happens, he's going to do these, like the Zoids are going to act this way, instead of them, if he misses, you just kind of keep on running away, or if he attacks, like he'll hit him and do something different. It was so basic.
Yeah, for sure. And then finally, the lasting appeal of the game. Would you go back to it? Would you play it again, or what do you think?
Oh, honestly, even though it was really crappy, I want to try the different Zoids. So maybe.
I thought about that too. Like, I before I just totally can the game, I'll probably play it some more, just because, like, I don't know. We're big fans of the series, obviously, and I think that has a little bit to do with it.
Oh yeah, for sure. But
this game made me want to play that game Riggs on VR a little more, because that's that it's mechanized like sports basically, and it kind of reminds you of shades of this, like of Zoids, kind of thing. It's pretty much the closest thing we have to Zoids in the VR world. So, but yeah, as far as everything else, like I would probably play it again at some point, just because I'm a big fan of it. So
yeah, I'm a big fan of it too. Honestly, this game gave me at moments, I was like, oh, this is really fun, especially because of like I said, you should go back and play the Blade Liger, because it worked. It did what it was supposed to, and it did it fine. Where like
that's awesome.
It was fluid. What I did is either put a booster on him or a shield. And you could run around, you just deploy your blades, and you're just slicing and dicing people up. You can jump with them. It felt good. I mean, honestly, that's kind of the glimmer of hope when I played that. I was like, oh, this actually is pretty enjoyable. This was one of those things that I'm sure I will go play back, because I want to play some of the bigger Zoids, or like the really expensive ones that I just didn't have time to get. But
yeah,
it just teased me, because the Blade Liger, playing with that, with even with the cores where like you were faster, you could turn better. It gave me a glimmer of hope. I was like, oh, this could be so much. This is fun. This is absolutely fun. But it was 50% fun. It was literally like if I was working on this game as a production, I don't know, 3D modeler, and I was testing it. It's like, wow, this game has a lot of potential, but it just wasn't there. It was so 50%. If that was implemented with everything else, it would have been amazing. It would have been a really fun. It would have been a really good game, but
yeah. I mean, it gave me a lot of good good nostalgia of the show. Made me want to watch the show some more. So I guess that's what this game was really made for, to be like buy it and then watch our show, you know? So
yeah, but it could have been just a good standalone game, even if no one knew about the show. It did that for me as well, but it just needed 50% more work.
Agreed. So with that, what's a good ranking system for Zoids?
Oh man.
You know what? Let's do this. Let's do 1 to 5, and let's rank like the crappiest Zoid to the awesome. So Liger Zero is obviously going to be the best.
Of course.
Okay, and then we go down to I guess we'll do Command Wolf. Before Liger Zero, Shadow Fox. Let's see. Oh man, Elephander.
Whoa! You're doing some crazy because all of those are sweet.
Oh God, I know. I'm just thinking this for me was kind of. I guess we'll just do out of 5. I don't know. I'm trying to be creative here.
Oh, remember we got to do out of 10 because out of 5 is weird.
Oh,
so
out of 10.
We're gonna do 1 to 10, or how many? Let me think about this. I had something planned, but I couldn't remember it. How many wrenches out of 10, because they're mechanical and you need wrenches.
Okay.
How many wrenches out of 10 do you rate this game?
Oh man, I'm gonna give it about a 4 for me.
Yep. Yeah, I was so I'm 4.5. So yeah. I think like I said, it was just 50%.
Yeah,
it was a little bit under 50%. 4.5 and 4, I think very, very fair ratings. Had stuff that it had a lot of potential, it just didn't execute correctly. But hey, it's gonna make us probably play it at least for another hour or two to test out some other stuff. So that deserves something.
Let me ask you this: so they haven't announced a U.S. release of the Switch game, but would you import it if they don't ever come out with the United States version?
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah, for sure. I was thinking about that last night. I was like, I'm gonna find a way to import this game. I'm gonna get it.
Are you sure it's not U.S. announced?
Yeah, they haven't announced anything. I was looking all over the internet last night for it. It's coming out in February, for the Japan. So.
It's February 28th in Japan. This game was initially announced February. Today was real on Switch. Huh. Okay. Well, yeah. I'm looking at the screenshots for Switch, and
it looks sweet.
Yeah, it looks sweet. The art. So they did an art style in this game instead of just doing it straight 3D, which is I think a really fine thing to do because the Switch handles that style of graphics. Yeah, dude, absolutely. If I don't know what it would take, but I'm down.
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up, and then maybe once it comes out, we'll give a little roundup on how we felt about that game if we can get it in our hands. So
yeah, absolutely, I'd be willing to do that.
Awesome, man. Cool. So let's put a bow on that one. That was cool to kind of play a little more recent game, rather than just way back in the archives.
Yeah, for real. It was a recent one, but it was a rough one at times. It was really good at times, and it was really rough.
Yep. Take the good with the bad. We got to do them all. So, anyway, just a little bit. I took a peek into Mario Golf for GameCube. So much better of an experience. Oh my God. We'll get to that one at some point.
Okay. Yeah, we'll revisit that.
Little callback from last week. Now, have you had any thoughts about next week? Or January is when we'll do our first podcast. So,
man, I think we're just going to have to talk about it when we're together. Or I haven't given any thought because I knew we were going to be gone next week. So, yeah, we're just going to cap this year off. And, I mean, realistically, we're going to have 3 weeks until Kingdom Hearts. So,
yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe we should try a little bit of a longer form game since we're having a hiatus. But we'll talk off pod about it.
Yeah, we'll just... be announcement.
So speaking of Kingdom Hearts, though, the game leaked online this week. Did you take a look at it?
Absolutely not.
No, definitely not.
Absolutely not. Whoever leaked this should be stoned.
Yeah, for sure. The game creator, I can't pronounce his name, but he came out and was like, we know who did this and we're taking action, but please, please don't ruin the game for yourself. And I 100% agree because this game we've been waiting for forever and I want to be able to enjoy it firsthand, rather than seeing videos online.
Yeah, here's the deal is Tetsuya Nomura, yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, he's Tetsuya Nomura. He's the guy who's done all the Disney Kingdom
All
Hearts.
of it.
Yeah, it's Square
And
Enix.
Final Fantasy.
Final
all of it,
Fantasy, yeah, Tetsuya Nomura. I completely agree. Here's the deal: if you're on the fence about a game, or you're just not going to play it, but you enjoy watching it streamed, or getting leaks, they have their place for sure. But
Yeah.
this game, and among some other ones, when they've been working on them for 10 years. Another one that happened like this was Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
They've been working on it for 10 years, and also they've revealed nothing about the story except possibly who's going to, basically like what worlds you're going to go to, or some basic gameplay. They did that for a reason, and they definitely, you have to have a really tight security and team to be able to do that. And that's the whole point of it, is to be, especially for diehard fans like us, to go into the game and experience it completely fresh and organically, and have those really awesome, emotional even connections to the game. And so there's no way in hell I'm going to go look at this. And I don't think, hey, if you want to, that's up to you. But if you even have an inkling of that you're going to play it, don't do it. Don't look it up. You're going to hate yourself later.
Don't ruin this game. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. It's just they put too much work into it to like ruin, And the people who did it, I really hope they do find them and take action on them, because that's terrible,
Yeah, I mean, it is. It's intellectual. I mean, it's not intellectual. It's digital property theft, because it's just wrong. I mean, there's a reason why there's obviously like NDAs and stuff like that people sign. So hey, you got to pay. You do the crime, you got to pay the time. So
yeah, definitely, I have to agree with that.
What did you think about the new final trailer dropped 2 days ago? What did you think about that?
Looks awesome. I mean, as usual, it's just everything about the game just keeps getting better. It just seems like you said, we don't really know exactly what the story is going to be. We know the arc about the Keyblade War that's mounting with, Master Xehanort and the whole thing, but we don't 100% know exactly how it's going to go. And I think they did a good job of not spoiling too much, but showing just what epicness we're in store for.
Yeah, it looked. One thing it set off is, it definitely showcased more of each world, and how. We were talking about this before we started recording. Is the depth of every world looks a lot bigger than it did in the past two games, which is awesome.
Yes.
So that's great, and you know what I got from it is Sora. Man, he looks like he's gonna have a weird, tough time, like he does every time. But he like inner emotional struggles, and I think they're trying to bring out the badness in him, or like make him second guess himself. That's what it kind of sounds like. So I'm ready to take this wild roller coaster for a spin for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And like you said, the worlds, I think they're going to have so much more depth to the story rather than just being their own little story,
Well, yeah, because this is the last one. It all culminates for the finale. So you better have some, they're going to have to tell a big story, and it looks like only a certain amount of worlds. They're not going to have 50 worlds, so it'll be good.
They can't really do all. Yep, it seems like a really obviously unique to the rest of the series too. So definitely looking forward to it. Can't wait till the end of January. Just can we just speed up time to get there?
Don't worry, man. It's going to be here before we know it. But yes, me as well.
It's literally only a month from next week, which is amazing.
Oh man, the older at least I get, the faster time goes. So it'll, like, I think about a month, I'm like, it'll be here in like 2 seconds.
Yep. Well, anyway, moving on from that, I know we both saw Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse last week, almost exactly at the same time.
Yes. So it's just actually a funny story, because I wasn't planning on seeing it opening night. I was definitely interested in it, but I didn't do any prior research into the story or just anything. I was just like, oh, yeah, that looks good. I'll go see it. And I talked to you, and you were saying you were going to go see it.
Yeah.
And I looked at tickets in my theater, because the one that I go to is like a recliner theater where you just reserve your seat. And I was like, oh man, what are we gonna do tonight? And my wife looked, and she's like, oh, they got tickets left. So I was, sure, book them.
Yeah.
Oh man, was I so happy I did that. I want to go see it again.
Yeah, me too. I thought it was a really awesome movie. It was like a comic book in like real life, you know? Like, it was
Oh.
awesome the way they filmed it. The story was great. I'm not going to spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen it, but man, if you are having an inkling of seeing it, go see it because it was that good.
So I'm going to make a bold statement and say that it was my favorite Spider-Man movie ever.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty close. I mean, Homecoming was awesome. I really liked it, and the old ones just give me a lot of nostalgia, but definitely was a really good movie.
Yeah, I think it was my favorite one. I know that's bold, but like I walked away from it going, I don't think there's one that I liked better.
Yeah.
I think possibly I really like Spider-Man 2 or The Amazing Spider-Man 2. That was really that's up there for me, but dude, I don't have anything bad to say about it, and normally I mean I can be pretty critical of things if I want to, and I have nothing bad to say about that movie. Go see it if you haven't, please.
Yeah, definitely leaves you clamoring for more at the end too. You're like, oh, okay, so they're gonna start a whole series with this, which is awesome. So
yeah, I was an idiot, and I asked my brother. I was like, "Hey, is there anything after the credits?" And I should have just known there was, and he's like, "No," and there was. So I totally missed the end of it.
Yeah, it was cool.
I heard.
It was a cool little scene. Yeah, it wasn't like too riveting, but it was awesome.
Cool. Yep. 10 out of 10 from me.
Yeah, definitely. Even Rotten Tomatoes gave it like 98% or something.
It's at 100%, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So, yeah, very good movie. If you want to go see it, go see it. We weren't gonna go see it on Friday, but same thing. We were just kind of hanging out. Like, got some kind of depressing news that ended up turning out being okay about our next baby, and we were just like, let's just go see a movie, like take our mind off of things. But everything's good with all that anyway. But so yeah, we ended up seeing it on Friday as well.
Cool, man. I'm glad we got to see that together. I want to see it again. I mean, I was all in. I think the best thing about it, again, just organically, is I didn't look up anything. I saw a couple trailers. I saw that there's this, Post Malone was going to do a song in the movie. Oh, that's great, whatever.
Yeah.
And so I went into it with decent expectations, but no knowing anything, and I was blown away. So that's why sometimes you don't want to, you don't want spoilers because it can actually work in your favor. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, and another note about that movie was it was good for all ages too. Like my 3-year-old enjoyed it, and I enjoyed it. It was so it was awesome just for the whole family.
Yeah,
and that was really where it hit home for me.
Yeah, it wasn't. If you have a family or you don't like cursing or over, violence or bloodiness, it was clean too. That was the cool part. It was
super clean.
Yeah, there was. I mean, it was like, was it even PG-13 or was it PG?
It was PG, yeah.
Oh man, that's great. Yeah, because
that's why we took the little guy. Yeah,
very nice. Yeah, and it was PG, but did not feel necessarily like just a kids movie. I like kids movies, but it felt anyone who likes superhero Marvel comic books, they're gonna love it. So A+.
Yeah, I'll definitely buy this one when it comes out on iTunes.
Yep.
So anyway, I got. Just wanted to talk about that for a minute, but I got Tetris Effect yesterday, so I've been playing on that a little bit last night.
How much LSD did you take before you?
I should have taken more, but because it probably would have been even better. But man, that game is so entrancing, and the visuals. I was playing in VR, obviously. I don't think I would like it as much if it wasn't in VR, or I don't think I could go back from playing it in VR, like just play it on a regular TV screen.
Yeah.
Because you got the helmet on and you got the headphones and you just jack that thing up. And man, I sat there for like 3 hours last night straight and just played it. And
got all jacked up on your jacked up Tetris.
Yeah, when they say like the flow and everything with your mind and all that, it really, if you want to be alone with your thoughts and really just kind of like meditate and play something that gets mindless after a while, it's definitely something to check out. And it's just a beautiful game all the way around. It's all the reviews have said about it.
Oh, I'll have to check it out once it gets a little cheaper. But
yeah, it was actually $20 at GameStop. That's why I got it. So yeah, it was on sale.
Man,
it's funny because it's originally $40 and the new game was on sale. So like the pre-owned version was $35 and the new version was $19.99.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, it's funny how they do that.
Yeah, dude, glad you had a good time with it. I would love to check it out, but I don't really even want to buy it because I want to try it in VR and just see.
Yeah. Yeah, when you come up here, we'll definitely check out some cool VR stuff and play some games together. So
yeah,
to visit me.
Dude, here's the deal: is once they come out with the PS VR 2, I'll be down to get it. But we're so far into the cycle of VR with the first one that I'm hesitant to get like a headset because there has to be a second one coming around the corner at some point.
They keep on saying they're going to ride this one out for a little bit till the technology gets like to the next level. So it could be another year or two on it, but as soon as you say that, E3 will come around and they're like, "Hey, VR2," and I'm like, "Dang it!" Okay,
even if it's
that.
Yeah, but I mean, you were such an early adopter; it makes sense. But I'm like this with almost anything: is I have to be an early adopter for the hardware, or else I get mad because if you're like a late adopter or like a mid adopter, then a year later the new thing's out, and you're like, "Freaking! Why didn't I just wait till the new thing was out?" Because I just have to get I want it so it'll last me a good while. Or else, like, whenever people buy an iPhone that was out like a year and a half ago and the new one's coming out in like 3 months, I literally look at them like they're insane. And it's not even wrong, but that's just the way I have to do things. So,
yeah, for sure. And I've definitely put some miles into that thing, and I'm really glad that I did buy it when I bought it. Day one. I got it day one. I pre-ordered it and everything. So
exactly. So I think
I got a Pro at the same time, and it runs a little better on the PS4 Pro. So
oh man, I got to talk about the. So I've been playing a game. I just played it like really just yesterday. I finally got into it. Is the game of the year, the God of War, and man, that game looks absolutely fantastic. And the one thing that it's definitely the reason that it was game of the year is because it's pretty much everything about it is really, really good. But what I can say is apparently it plays really, really. I mean, it already looks good, but with a PS4 Pro and a 4K TV, the resolution's like out of this world. I was looking at the comparison. It honestly looks incredible on a 1080 with I just have a right like before the Pro out like a slim PS4 Slim. But it definitely made me want to get a PS4 Pro and a 4K because if it looks this good, I don't even want to know what it looks like with HDR and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't think I could go back. I have a Pro and a 4K, and it's just, the visuals are just insane on like Spiderman, going back to Spiderman, So I'm sure God of War was amazing too.
Yeah, it's so talking about good like bad camera versus good camera. The way that they made the camera in this game was it's kind of shot like a movie where it's one camera all the time, but it's set like it's almost like following them around or shooting cinematic sequences. That's cool. It's genius. Like that game looks so good, and the way that the camera is shot, it's fluid. It doesn't it's really, really great. So I'm only 3 hours into it. And I think it's 25 for the main storyline. But,
wow.
Man, they did a lot right. And that's why I kind of got it. And it's nothing, the other ones, even for the name, God of War, it sounds like crazy. And even the other games were intensely, like, gory and violent. And this one's not so much. It's actually more, that's why I got it, because I was reading about, its review and why it won the awards. It's more about, like, the relationship between Kratos and his son.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like just kind of it's really cinematic, and there's a lot of puzzles. Even the other one had puzzles too, but this one it's
cool. It's got a little more depth to it.
Yeah, I mean the other games were good for what they did, but they were just very, very, very violent. And this one does have that as well to a degree. It's an action game, but there's a lot more storytelling. And like I said, it's really about the relationship and the beautifulness of the game, the relationship between Kratos and his son. That's kind of like pretty much the entire game so far is I won't ruin the story, but just the beginning, Kratos, like his wife dies, she leaves behind a son, and it's their journey to take her ashes to this mountain. That's like literally so it's all about like his relationship with the boy, as he calls him. He's like, "Boy, what are you doing,
That's
boy?"
Funny.
It's kind of funny.
It's funny because like it feels like when the first game came out, it was trying to like appeal to teenagers, and like, oh, just explosions and war and this and that, and like the game's growing. It's like now it's targeting guys like us who are in their 20-something, early 30s, have kids, like trying to get that heart, kind of thing into it.
I don't even think it's technically. I need to read about the timeline, but yeah, like this is a completely different feeling of a game. The other one literally was just like rip the heads off of people, and this is his story, like a deep story. And man, it's good so far. So I'll have to revisit that, especially if I think before I get Kingdom Hearts, if I can swing the money, I'll get a Pro and a TV. So,
let's do it.
Yeah,
do it for Kingdom Hearts.
I know, man. Hey, those end of the year big tax bills from owning a business will wipe you out big time. So we gotta wait for another month.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah, it's awesome though, man. Well, I think this has been a wrap on a good one. We've talked about a lot of stuff today, but we are looking forward to next year. We will be getting back into it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Sounds like a good thing. And like you said before, thank you so much for listening. Really appreciate it. Please write in a comment or review or follow us on social media. Like I said, 2019, we will be definitely putting out YouTube videos of the games we play and more reviews. Streaming on Twitch, you'll definitely see me. That's my thing. Mm-hmm. So please follow us. Like and subscribe, man.
Yeah. So what's your Twitch name?
My Twitch name is StreetFox. So it's StreetFox, all one word, and then it's PK, and that is for Pokemon because who doesn't like Pokemon?
Yeah.
And sure. StreetFox is my name in all games. It was taken, so whoever has that, hopefully I can snag that one day and it'll get released. But StreetFoxPK is it for now, and it could change, but that's it. So please go and follow, and that would be wonderful.
Awesome.
Come hang out.
Yeah, so West, and then maybe you'll start a Twitch channel for the podcast or something. But we have YouTube, KITG Podcast, Instagram, KITG Podcast, Twitter, KITG Podcast, and you can email it at kitgpodcast@gmail.com. So,
yes. So please, emails, questions, games you like to play, or come hang out in the stream. That'd be wonderful.
Definitely. All right, man. Until next time, we will post the game we are going to play once we figure that out for the beginning of next year.
Sounds good. Peace.
All right, man. See you later. See you in GA in a week or so.
Yeah. Later, bro.
All right. Bye. If you'd like to send us a message, you can email us at kitgpodcast@gmail.com or tweet us at kitgpodcast on Twitter.